All right, guys, this is for follow-up goals for small group training. The small group training people, the initial goal video that you saw, that should be the same because we meet them one-on-one, right? But once we follow up, how I would do it, and I know this is the way Kelsey used to do it, which I think is the best way. Bring everybody into this room. It's only going to be 4 people max, right? Unless you're doing a one-on-one session. They should have all scanned, so they should have their scan with them. If they don't, right, you guys have to coach them on these things to make it easier for yourself until we have our own app that makes all this easier, which means everyone, I'd be like, hey, does everyone have their scan or the InBody app on their phone?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So, and then I would have everyone pull up their last scan, right? And then does everyone know what their previous goal was?
No.
No.
All right, so then we got to look that up, right? So if I'm in this meeting with them, I have the laptop up on the screen. I'm going to go to the goal sheet, and I'm going to say, okay, Gabby, your goal was to lose 1 to 3 pounds of body fat. Josh, your goal was to gain 1 to 3 pounds of dry lean mass. Okay, so I have them write it down, right? And then you just tell them, we're going to go through this step by step. Do you guys have any questions on your latest scan?
Hard and say yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why didn't I hit my goal?
Well, we're gonna have to evaluate everything you were doing this past month, Josh. What was your goal?
To gain 1.5 to 3 pounds of dry lean mass.
Okay. And then what was are you doing nutrition coaching?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we'd have to, what I would do in this scenario, if somebody asked that question, I would literally set up a separate meeting. I wouldn't do it here because then you're gonna wind up, everybody's listening, it's gonna get awkward. So I'd be like, okay, let's set up a separate meeting and go through that, okay? And then I would just go through, somebody probably has a printout on the table. If not, I would just pull up one and then just be like, guys, remember if your goal was to lose body fat mass, we're looking at the body fat mass number, right? And then just have them fill out. So I'm gonna say, guys, I want you to go through these questions, answer them, right? Did you achieve your previous goal? Yes or no? If you didn't achieve it, why? Like, why do you think you didn't achieve it? And then what would be success or progress for you in the next 4 to 8 weeks? Okay? Give them some time to do it. Let them do it. Now, I'm walking around. Here's what I would do. Walk around like a teacher. I'm not gonna hover. I may leave the room for 3 minutes and then come back. All right? After they're done, I'll be like, oh, okay. All right, Josh, so you wrote, give me something. What would be success for you or progress in the next 4 to 8 weeks?
To look bigger.
Okay, so to look bigger. So Josh, what is that? That's a great goal. What does that mean to you?
That I need to get more muscle.
Okay, so gaining more muscle mass. Okay, and then what did you write as your current goal?
To gain 1.5 to 3 pounds of lean muscle.
Okay, so what is that? Dry lean mass?
Dry lean mass. Yeah.
Okay, all right, so that's good. So that lines up. I'm also gonna make sure it's reasonable. So Josh just said that goal, right? So is that reasonable for Josh's weight? So, hey Josh, did you take a look at the chart to make sure that that's reasonable?
No, it is not.
Okay, so what would be a more reasonable goal? It doesn't mean you won't hit it, but we obviously want to stay realistic.
0.9 to 1.8.
Okay, so when we go 1 to 2 pounds in the next 4 weeks, how's that sound?
Sounds great.
Okay, and then what was what's the biggest obstacle for you?
Eating enough.
Okay, so, and then what are we gonna do different this time? Did you achieve your previous goal?
No, I did not.
Okay, all right, so what do we gotta do different this time?
Eat more.
All right, so if I'm his nutrition coach, I may set up a separate meeting or be like, obviously that's the nutrition coach's job, right? So I'd be like, hey, who's your nutrition coach? And he'd be like, Ray, he sucks. And then I'd be like, all right, so obviously Ray's gonna meet with you in your next nutrition meeting and know that you didn't hit the goal, and he's gonna make adjustments, right? And then, because if it's not a training goal, then it's you don't have to do anything here, right? We just move on.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing is just getting clarity around, as you're walking around, you're trying to validate that the goals make sense. That's your job in a small group. This is not a one-on-one session, right? It's a small group. So that's why they're doing it on their own, and then their question needs to line up with their goal. Like, hey, Gabby, what did you say what's your goal for the next 4 to 8 weeks?
I forgot what it was. 1 to 3 pounds of body fat.
Okay, is that what you put? What would be success in the next 4 to 8 weeks?
Drop a pant size. I think it was on my last goal.
So drop a pant size?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what did you answer to this question?
Oh, if I drop the pant size, yes.
Okay, so dropping a pant size.
Yes.
Okay. And then what did you put as the current goal?
The current goal, drop 1 to 3 pounds of body fat.
Okay, so I would, why don't we just stick with the pant size as the goal? I mean, it's really, because,
Sure.
right, because the pant size is measurable, and the pounds may not lead to the pant size, but I'd also consider, we need to look at, how many small group sessions are you doing per week?
2.
Okay, so, and then are we doing other workouts?
I might come to the large group 1 time a week.
Okay, and then did we drop? I mean, obviously, like, we're role playing here, but if Gabby if her goal last month was to drop a pant size and she didn't hit the goal, I'm like, okay, well, how much were you working out last month consistently?
I was coming to my small group, but I really wasn't doing the large group.
Okay, so, I mean, if you want to drop a pant size, I mean, did you feel like you lost anything? Like, did you lose any inches since you...
I feel better.
Okay, but did you lose any inches or no?
I mean, my clothes fit the same.
Okay, so it sounds like we didn't move the needle at all. All right, so that means we need to either increase activity or look at nutrition again, right? So you're only coming to the small group twice a week. Can you add, cardio or walking 30 minutes 3 times a week?
Yes.
Okay, so let's write that down under the cardio section. All right, but your current goal is still to drop a pant size.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let's stick with that goal. Obviously, we're gonna have to adjust I don't know what you're doing for nutrition right now as well, but that's gonna play a big role. So I'll send that info to your nutrition coach.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Can I try out the large group more often? I'm just
Uh,
throwing shit out there. I don't know.
Yeah, every small group client has 2 large group sessions on their account per week. So, yeah, I mean, you can do the large group training more often if you want to.
Okay. Great.
All right, but I think, is there any reason? That's a good. If you're watching this video right now, I'm obviously trying to think through teaching you and coach at the same time, which is hard. If I was just coaching, I think the better question, because Gabby's bringing that up, she probably thought about it. Why am I not recommending large group sessions? But she also said she was only making 2 and she tried 1,
Yeah,
what you
tried
said
1.
earlier? Right, so it's like, maybe she doesn't like it, but I should have asked that question. Like, hey, is there any reason you're not doing the 2 extra large group sessions?
I'm just scared. It's a lot of people.
Okay, well, we can either do that or add the cardio. Which one would you rather do?
I'll try it again. Do the large group again.
Okay, so really we should be aiming to attend 4 sessions a week.
Yes.
All right, so what under your current goal then, let's actually make it attend 4 sessions a week and drop a pant size. All right, if it's specific, make them write it, right? If it's another behavioral goal that's not really related, then, I mean, we don't have to. All right, is there anything I can help you with? Right, so I wouldn't really ask that question out loud, but make sure, the biggest thing, guys, in the small group is go through their sheet and make sure it makes sense. Like, did they write anything? Oh, I can't, Josh, you didn't write anything? I can't help you with anything, huh? You just got it all figured out. No, I'm just kidding. But make sure it makes sense with regard to what they're trying to achieve. And then, since Josh is in this, because he asked in the group, because you asked about asking more questions, is there anything specific, like
just,
regarding the 4 to 8 week?
No, I kind of, I get that. The only issue I think I have a lot of the times is whenever they want to elaborate on their specific goal and like they don't do nutrition, but they have a nutrition based kind of goal, or like they're like, I'm doing really good in the gym, but I'm not, and so I kind of nudge like, well, maybe you need a nutrition coach, or I'll lightly kind of touch up on stuff, but yeah, it's really just kind of them like wanting to go real deep into their own goal, and then like I don't want to be an asshole and be like, nah, it's not like I gotta get to these other people. So then I have to schedule another meeting outside of that, and it just kind of.
Well, I mean, if that's like, I mean, it should. I'd have to see this.
I think what you do, like how you just let them write it out, like, cause I'll go through one person at a time, and I'll tell them what their goal is and stuff, rather than like I'll have all this up, but I'll tell them what it is, cause I know like Novo doesn't want me sharing everything. She wants it to be more personal, whereas like Sam and Bev, they don't care. Like I could put it on the screen.
Okay. All right, and then regarding the nutrition, I did that in one of the other videos, but just so it's reiterated. So if Josh is saying, or somebody has a nutrition goal, or they're not following, or diet is the problem, like, hey, it should be like, Josh, I really think based on your goals and based on the route we've been going or the direction we've been going in, I really think that you need to sign up for the nutrition coaching program. So why don't we go see Gabby sometime today or after this session and get you the information on that. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
All right, so that's the whole why don't we, again, use those words all the time. It works, because if you say why don't we, it's almost like why don't we, right? It just sounds nice and fluffy, and then they almost feel obligated to say yes. It's going to be a very different conversation if you're like, you need a nutrition coach, or have you thought about, don't be suggestive, be prescriptive. Meaning, don't suggest like, you probably should think about getting a nutrition coach and then just leave them hanging. It's your job to direct them, right? As the coach, it doesn't mean be a dictator, but it means make strong suggestions or get them to take the next step, right? What's the downside of them just having a conversation with Gabby, right? So why don't we, if you think somebody needs nutrition, just use that approach. Hey, John, I mean, actually, I would try to sell the whole group. I'd be like, hey, honestly, if anybody here doesn't have nutrition, and your goal is body fat loss, and you feel stuck or you're hitting a plateau, you don't really know, what direction to take, even if you're trying to gain muscle, I would highly suggest getting more information on our nutrition coaching program. So why don't we go talk to Gabby after the session, or if Gabby's not here right now, so for you morning trainers, just say like, why don't I tell Gabby to reach out to you guys sometime today to get you more information on signing up for nutrition coaching. How does that sound? And no one's gonna say no. I mean, some people may be like, oh, I gotta think about it. If that's the case, then that's fine. Like, we're not here to like pressure them if they don't wanna do it. Okay? All right, and then from there, you should gather everyone's sheets. Okay, the main thing, like I said, the 4 to 8 week question has to make sense with the goal. That's all we're trying to clarify here, right? And as well as the biggest obstacle and what are they gonna do different and what can you help them with, right? All that should be clear so that you know what to do as the coach for the next 4 to 8 weeks, reminder-wise, etc. We end the meeting, you guys collect the sheets, and then now it's also your job when you're entering it. Does it make sense? If it doesn't make sense, like either call the client, just message them, or just set up a 10-minute call like, hey, I saw you said this on here, what did you mean by that, right? If something doesn't make sense or you didn't have enough time to go around. But you should, theoretically, in that 1 week period, I don't know, Josh, you may correct me if I'm wrong, but you should have enough time if we're doing those shorter sessions, even if you didn't catch somebody the first week, right, you should be able to catch them the next time.
Mm-hmm.
The point is just get clear on it and just make sure it makes sense. Hey, so guys, Josh has brought up some clients feel uncomfortable sharing goals in this setting. If it helps, I think you just need to test this out. I would just sit out in the lobby on the couches, the chairs out there, and just hand everybody a clipboard and just walk around there so that there's more space, right? Instead of just being in here, you can do that. That would depend on the time of day, obviously, though. So, or you can, I mean, I don't care. Whatever makes them feel comfortable. Like, you could take them outside, right? If everybody wants to like stand, well, then you won't have access to the data. That's another problem. But in those instances, or just set up, if that person just wants a separate meeting, like don't make it, that's a hard one. You can, I mean, I don't care, sure, it serves the client. So if you need to set up a separate meeting with somebody, that's small group because they're uncomfortable in this setting. But I think if you have a client that initially does that, you should set up a separate meeting and then you should address why first before you continuously set up meetings, right? So like if he mentioned Novo or whoever, right? So I would sit with her like, hey, like what's the big deal? Like why are you afraid to tell people your numbers, right? Because obviously that's an internal issue. So we should try and work on that so that she doesn't feel uncomfortable. Because the reality is she's in a small group, so she should be comfortable around like some people. It shouldn't be like, right? If that's the case, and I mean, here's another tip. I mean, it's what I would do if it was if obviously I own the business, so it's but it's in everyone's benefit to upsell. So if in that case, I may be like, hey, like if you're not comfortable sharing your stuff with other people, like maybe you should just consider going back to one-on-one training, right? And just upsell them. Like if you want more attention and like everything, to be focused on your goal specifically, then I think one-on-one may be a better option for you. And then same thing, why don't we talk to Gabby? Or how does that sound? Get their opinion on it and say like, why don't we just talk to Gabby about maybe just adding a one-on-one session per week and keeping the small group. This way you get the one-on-one attention in that one session. I can set goals with you individually, right? And you get a little bit more attention that way, right? It's a win-win, gives them what they want. It's also an upsell. You make more money, company makes more money, etc.